Well, hey guys, LongHaul Larry, and I am back at this trailer. I was working on it last night, or not last night, but a couple nights ago actually. I've been out doing loads. I actually delivered the load that I brought from Wisconsin, New Jersey, and then he had me picking up a load later that afternoon up in New Jersey. Brought that back to Costco and delivered at 5 a.m. this morning. And then I guess his dad had a load that had a couple pallets rejected, like the day before or something at Costco. And now they wanted them, so I had to run back, drop my trailer, hook up to his dad's trailer, run that back to Costco and do that delivery. Then I've been back here and I've been doing a couple other little things and stuff, and I need to get this trailer done. So as you guys probably saw in that video and everything, I was underneath here showing you guys how this really cool trailer system thing works. It's awesome. And there is some problems, and I just didn't have the time that night before I had to leave to fix it. So the boss had the driver take another trailer, and I am gonna fix this one up, so this one is all good to go. So the problems that I was showing you guys was how to check brake chambers, because what happens is a lot of times, I'm gonna flip the screen around. So what happens is a lot of times, sorry about the noise, that's my air compressor running up there. I got supplied air into the trailer. But the problem is that there's a large spring in here, and the guys don't put the caps back on here a lot of times, mechanics don't. And then water and stuff gets in there. Well, it's a metal spring under tension, and it rusts, and then they snap. The way to check this is you can just take a hammer like this and just pound on them. You heard that dull, like dull thud? It was, okay? That one's good. If the spring is broken in there, you'll actually hear a clink. You'll hear a different tone. Sometimes you hear, metal jump. That spring is completely snapped in there and there's nothing. But you can hear different. So you just take a hammer and just tap it on there like that. Good to go. You could kick it with your foot too if you really wanted to. But the one problem with this brake chamber, this is not old. I think he said it was put on in January or February. He said he looked up the records. This was a threaded rod brake chamber. The ones that come with the trailers, they're actually got a welded rod on the end of it. They're preset length and everything. These are fine. You can use these. But the problem is that whoever installed this did not do it right. So what you have to do, trying to set this up here so you guys can see this real good. There's probably a big ball right there. Is the slack adjuster, which is right here, has to be 90 degrees to this threaded rod. It has to be 90 degrees to get the full leverage of the brakes, to get full braking power. When I apply the brakes, not even close. And because this threaded rod is not in there far enough, what is happening is it's only about halfway in here, and this jam nut was up here like this. It doesn't come all the way through here, so I can't thread it on anymore to make this right. So I can't do this, I can't set this up. So it's a 90-degree deal right now. And so this brake chamber's got to go on. So I took pictures of it and stuff. He's going to contact the company and say, what the hee-haw, dudes. Okay, now we can move over to our next one. So hopefully you can see that decent. But here's the next brake chamber. Now we'll check this one. Did you hear that? Hear that tink? Hear the metal? This brake chamber is broken. This brake chamber is broken. And the base of it is pretty rusted too. So I'm not only going to replace the spring brake part of it, which it has a broken spring in there. I'm also just going to replace the whole brake chamber itself, because this is rusted too. It's time to go. So we're going to be doing that one. So I'm going to be changing out this one. And then back here, let's say is the one back here that the pin was missing on it. Hear it? That's a good one. It's a good solid one. And that's got the, well, that's got the 90, that's the way it should be. All right, so here's the other one. And guess what? You guys have probably been hearing it. The brake chamber's leaking. And what it is it's leaking out around here. And so what this is I can put my finger on it, stop the ear a little bit. There's a couple holes you gotta plug up. Can't get my fingers on it. On all the holes at once. I can get it on the main spring. But what it is the pancake. There is a pancake gasket that is in here. And so that needs to be replaced. Also, the leveling valve is also leaking. Awesome. So this trailer's got some problems we gotta fix up here. So you get to work here. We just use a caging bolt. They come on here. There's one right here too. But then it's got this little T deal on it, and what you're going to do is stick this into the inside of it, and then turn it just a little bit clockwise. It's like that. You turn it a little bit clockwise, and then you tighten this nut up, and that's what locks the brake chamber, locks that big spring in there, so that it cannot come off. Go. That's all we need to do. So now we just need to take off these couple airlines. Here we go. Yeah, need an extension. Let's go get an extension. And you just take off these two nuts. Ever hate it when the nuts get stuck in the sockets? I do. I'll get that out in a minute. Oh, the nut's still in there. Go. And there you are. And there is your brake chamber. Hear that? Hear that? All right, boys and girls, we're good. pull our little blocks out of there. Put the hoses to the right side. Ouch. Hopefully it's all gonna line up. I don't have to mess with it. There. There we are. We'll make sure our ABS lines aren't getting pinched in there. Go. There we go. Still has. Now, I'm gonna put some on there. I gotta get some tape to do that. Some pipe joint tape. Alright, we need to put our pelvis pins back in. When you put these in, we want to make sure to put anti-seize on these. These have to spin freely to make so that the brake functions properly, and also the slack adjuster. These are automatic slack adjusters, and if these bind, it'll actually affect the slack adjuster. Won't let it function properly. Let's see if I got enough to push this. I don't. So I'm gonna have to kind of cross the camera, I guess. You basically just line up the old holes there. Pop the pin in. Pretty simple. And this is your slack, this is your automatic adjustment arm back here. If the hole doesn't line up, just put the wrench on there and a little bit down, you can lengthen it. There it goes. And there you go. So we need to put cotter pins back in there, and they did not include new cotter pins with this kit. I couldn't believe it. So the last thing we're going to do is remove this cage bolt. And the reason why is because we're going to put anti-seize on here. Because these rust in there. And then you're out on the road and something happens, you got a cage or brake to get to off the road or something. You don't have a cage bolt. And try to take this one out and it's rusted in there. Happens all the time. And there we go. So I need to remove my cage bolt out of here, and that's gonna put it back. I'm not gonna adjust the brake right now because I don't have any air in the trailer, and I'm gonna move on and do the other brake chambers quick. So it doesn't really pay, so I'm just gonna keep moving. Well guys, it is the next day. I worked out here late last night, and I gotta keep going further and further down the rabbit hole. I got that side all done over there and everything, and I started to put this brake chamber on and stuff. And I mean, this was just done, and these brakes were actually, they just put a new set of the brakes on here in February, I think it is. And they put a new brake chamber and everything else on. And I took the other one off, and this slack adjuster was just moving all over the place. And you can see here. I mean, it's gone. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that I'll tell you right now that this was done at a Boss's truck stop. Boss's repair place at basically a Pilot. They have those Boss's place. And somebody did this, and I guarantee as soon as they pulled out of the parking lot, this truck was not DOT legal, because there's no way that you can get the correct brake stroke with that many worn parts. I mean, that S-cam, the bushings in there are completely gone. And then, I mean, if you even look at the roller bearings here, with these worn parts like this, there's no way possible you can get the correct DOT brake stroke. So I kind of just went, enough. And I knew I had to tear everything apart, and I just said, okay, I'm done for the night. And so I went to sleep and got up this morning and dove into it. Well guys, I have been trying to pound that off of there. It not coming off. Like I said, it will never come off. Not without an S. That's like adjuster puller. So I got the handy dandy torch. We just cut the whole tube right in half, but look at how oblong this tube is. Look at how it's worn to one side. And actually, over on this side, in the back here, it's actually worn. The side of the tube is actually, all the metal is even worn off. That's how bad this thing was worn. And they decided not to fix it. So we just cut the S-cam and everything. Because it being this worn, I ended up doing the S-cam and everything. But there was no way to pound that off. I beat on that thing with a hammer as much as I possibly could, pry bars, and I just gave up. Said, nope, that's enough. So I just got to pull this part, pull the 4 bolts out of there. I'm going to let it cool down for a little bit. And get the S-cam tube out. And then I have all the parts, all the brand new parts in the truck, in the hood. And start piecing this thing back together. Alright guys, we got the slack adjuster all in, everything all in there stuff, and now we got to deal with these roller pins here. Because I could put this, I'm telling you right now, okay, 99.9% the mechanics out there that work on this stuff will never touch this. They will never ever touch this. And the thing is, I will show you guys how to measure brake throw. And it's the same exact way the DOT does it. And so this is how they check it. And the thing is, if you have worn parts like this, your brake wear, your brake throw will be out. And it doesn't matter. You can sit there and adjust your brakes, which these are self-adjusting brakes. You're not supposed to adjust these. You can actually wreck the slack adjusters by doing that too much. But these things here, you can see them. I mean, that's quite a bit worn. And what it is there's a bushing on the inside of here. And that bushing has to come out. And nobody ever does it. What they do is when they do a brake job, they get their next kit like this. And they grab the new roller pins and they put them in there. Well, guess what? It's still worn. So you need to remove these. And I've showed this in the past, and you can use a chisel and stuff and work it around there and get it all out and everything. There is a special tool for it, and it's just right here, and it just goes into an air hammer. This is made by Isle. I'm not sure on the part number. I don't know if it has it on there or not. I don't see it. Plus, I'm too old to read that smaller writing. It's made by Isle. It's just brake tools or whatever, and look for Isle, ISLE or whatever it's called. But it's two different sizes, and you just put this side in here with an air hammer, and you start hitting it. And you got to kind of work it back and forth. You got to kind of do it a little bit and then back it out, because it will get jammed in there. Just like it just did just now. There we go. And there you go. That's how you get the bushing out. See, it's really not that hard. If you have the right tool, it's actually pretty easy. I've done it with chisels and stuff like this and hammers and beat them on in the past and stuff. And it's cool and stuff, it works and everything, but it's kind of a pain in the butt, but this way is a lot easier. Nice. So now to put the new ones in, I'm going to put it on the tool. You guys staring at me for? This has never seen somebody work in their life. And we're just gonna push this one back in. Go. Alright guys, we got all our roller pins in there nice and secure, no more play. Moved them up some anti-seize. Wear so much. I'm putting, since I had to break open a kit, a hardware kit for a brake kit to get the new shims, figured I would just use all new hardware, because new springs and everything. Stuff does get worn. These brake pads are about 50%. And the reason why they're 50% is because everything was all messed up, buggered up. These were actually brand new, just not even 5 months ago. I knew this was becoming a bigger job. Well, there we go. Everything's hooked. thought I'd do the plank skirts. There we go. Put the brake drum on, and then I can throw my slack adjuster in there. Actually, be done with this side. What a pain in the butt. Really had to go deep into this one. Oh well. Alright guys, we got the brake chamber all in there and everything. I'm going to be connecting up the lines. And this same, the boss actually was just here, and he was just, I was showing him everything that was going on. I showed him how bad that cam tube was, and he was just kind of disgusted with it. He's like, you know, he goes, I look back in the records, and he goes, I actually even sent him, he goes, I texted the guy, because they couldn't figure out, he says, it took like 6 hours to do this, for them to put that in there. And he says they charged him like $600 some. And he said that they couldn't figure out one to fit. And he says, I actually sent them this number off of this brake chamber. And he says they messed all up. But then they, you know, the slack, it just, what a pain in the butt. But the other thing they did is they used one of these. And, I mean, it's all right. It can be used. It could have been done. But it's a pain in the butt. Basically what this is for glad hands. To attach glad hands off of the tractor airlines to the trailer and stuff. That's what these are for and everything. I could see it can be in a pinch used for this, but you know, it's not right. And if you ever have to take them apart like I did, it can be really hard because there's a piece of copper that gets pressed onto the hose and it never wants to back off. And it's really hard to do it, and I was able to get it off, but we're gonna replace this with what should be on here. And I have talked in the past about truck drivers, you should carry one of these. And this is a kit, it came from Fleet Pride. And the part number is 34402. I have 2 of these that I carry in my truck at all times. And I've had to use them. It has happened, guys. Airlines have blown. You know, these airlines sometimes will go. It's a rubber airline, and over time, it could happen. And if it blows and you're on the road, guess what? Your brake is gonna lock up. And some thunder. It's kind of nice. It's cloud cover, a little cooler. But you can do this on the road. It's really not that hard. So let me show you how to do it here. Starts raining. I'm gonna have to pick up some of my tools. Can't get wet. But you just open it up here, and there's 2 of them in here, but we just need the one. And it comes, here's the part that threads into the brake chamber. And there's different kits that you can get, and they have different sizes. And this is the one that fits this here brake chamber. I believe it's 3/8. Yeah. Okay. So that threads up in the side there. Then what happens is inside of this, there's like little grooves. And those grooves will sit, there's a groove cut in here. And that one of those grooves will sit on into that little groove, and that's what holds it. And then there's another piece, the other half has the same groove, and it will sit under like so. And then to lock it all into place, this ring gets snapped over the top of this, just like this. And I'm probably gonna need a hammer. I didn't even think about that. But what you do is when they pull on the package, they're already lubed up with some grease on them and everything to help assist in this. And basically, you want to cut off the hose to make sure that it's square. That will help you a lot. There we go. And then basically all I do is just push this up inside there. And sometimes that will pull out like that. And really need to use the proper tool. Actually, you know what? Let me be proper here. I'll be back. All right, inside here there's an Allen. See, you can actually fit an Allen wrench. And if you stick an Allen wrench in there, you can actually work it back and forth. And now you need to have a little bit of a gap, and you can kind of retrofit it to see. I need a little bit more of a gap there. Put it on just a little bit too tight. Here comes the garbage company. There we go. That looks good. It's on this side. Yep. See, there's just a little bit of gap, maybe not quite a 1/4 inch from the brass little seam here to where the hose starts, and that will fit right in there just like so. Then you just put, should I open up, or is this an old one? I must have opened up. Oh yeah, one fell. Then you kind of put them on there just like so, and you can kind of put them on just like that, and then you just push this ring up just like that. Okay, so now you get that started, and then here's the trick to make this easy, because I've seen guys doing this, and I've seen guys that try to pound them on with hammers and everything, and you can possibly get this done. Air conditioner, refrigerator, foods, equipment service. Ooh, they got a nice lift gate on the back of their truck. But if you just take a vice grips and you put it onto 2 halves, just like that. Guess what? It'll just slide right up. Work it back and forth until you get right there. Then you release your vice grips, and there you go. There's a repaired hose. And see, shoot, I forgot the wrench. You put 11/16 on here, and this will actually turn without turning the hose. That's what it's supposed to do. And there's little O-rings in here and stuff that seal it. Why don't you need the wrench? See, because it's brand new, so I can do it. But see, that can turn now, and that's all sealed and everything, and that's a repaired hose. This happens out on the road, and I've blown hoses over the years. I've blown quite a few hoses on different trailers and stuff. I've learned it. Just carry this, and this can save a road call, and it can save hours and hours of time. I mean, you saw what I did there. A knife, hammer, vice grip. And if you're really fancy, you can do it the proper way and have a Allen wrench set there. So there we go. So that one there is our parking brake, right? Right. Yep. So this is our parking one. So that's gonna go into this one. I gotta get some tape, put that on there, and I need the wrench, 11/16. So I'll be back. All right, guys, we got the whole front done. That's not bad. Still not worn too bad. But this here, there's a pancake gasket that's in here, and it is leaking. So we need to change this out. Now, if it leaks up in here, or you have a broken spring or something, or this clamp is getting really rusted and stuff, you don't take this apart, okay? You don't take this half of this apart, because there is a very powerful spring in there, and if that comes apart, it's bad. So do not ever try to take this apart. But this back here, you can. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take off the spring brake part of the brake chamber, and we're going to service the service part of the brake chamber. There's two parts to a brake chamber of these. Some brake chambers you'll see they're smaller. That's just a service one. That means that when you apply the brakes, that brake does not apply. When you pull your button on your tractor and lock up your brakes, then that axle will not lock. Like a lot of trucks will have one axle that has a spring brake like this that locks up. So when you pull the parking brake, one axle locks up. The other axle a lot of times will have a smaller, thinner brake chamber, and all that is the service brake chamber. So these just have two parts to them. Never mess with this. So to do this, we have our caged off. So the service part is caged off. Now we need to pull this apart. We need to back the brake off so that it pulls this arm back. And there's like a plunger that's inside there, and there's a small spring that's inside there, and that's going to compress that and pull it back, so when you pull this apart, you won't have any problem getting it back together. Plus there won't be a big shoot off here. All right, now that we have that done, we have that all done, we can disconnect this brake. And there you go. Now, things you want to look for. This is a pancake right here. These get worn over time. It happens. They leak. Okay, we're gonna replace that. I always replace the clamps myself. Whenever I do this, I always replace the clamps. They get bent. They get rusted and stuff, and then what happens is the driver could apply the brake and the whole brake chamber could pop off. I don't know if you've ever come up behind a truck driver or something like that and you see a whole bunch of sparks, and what you see is this brake chamber right here dragging on the ground. That's what happened. Okay, the other thing that we're going to inspect, I'm going to pull this ABS line off. It's kind of pulling on there. There we go. Is you want to inspect the face of this. If it has any kind of rust, any kind of the paint, the metal there is started to rust or anything, you have to grind it down all smooth to bare metal and then paint it and then let that dry before you put the new one in. This one is good. I can feel it, but I gotta look at it. I gotta come in front of the camera. Yeah, we're good. This one does not have any. Good. So now I need to go get a new pancake and the new clamp. I have it up in the truck. And you're also going to want to clean this surface right here. I'm going to get some paper towel to clean this off and everything too. What is going on here? Alright, I was having a horrible time getting that in there, and I just figured out why. The boss, I told him to go get me some of these and to go give me one. And he bought a couple. They're actually the wrong ones. He bought the long stroke. Brake chambers, you have two different styles. You have a long stroke and just a regular. This one here is a 2.5 stroke, type 30. And this one here is the 30, type 30, but it's LS, that's long stroke. And if you could tell the difference, you could see the depth of it. That's why I can't get it in there, because it sticks out so far. So I got to call him. He's got to run and get me a new one and bring me a new one. All right, guys. I actually got this one all done. You guys saw I was having to struggle with it. And that was because the boss bought the wrong pancakes. He bought the type 30, but the long stroke. There's a difference. I couldn't get it good. Finally, I looked at the back side of the pancake and I saw LS. LS is long stroke. That's how I realized it was the depth, and I checked it to the old one. And yep, sure enough. So the new one, it just popped right back in there, tightened up. The boss is here, you know, can't video him. You know, he's like a vampire and stuff, you know. But we got the leveling valve. We got that all installed, so there's no more leak in there. We got the new pancake. Everything is done underneath here. I have gone through and done everything. Brakes are about 50%, maybe 40% for like one of them. So what, you know, probably by winter I have to do brakes on here and stuff, but they're good to go for now. But I thought I would show you guys how to check brake stroke. So it's pretty simple. Let me set up quick. All right, so guys, right here is a brake. It's all set up and everything. This is the one that was missing the self-adjusting clevis, the pin. So it wasn't actually self-adjusting. But basically all you do, this is how the DOT is gonna do it. Now this is a Type 30, has a 2.5 inch stroke. The thing is, some people go, oh, it can be 2.5 inches. It can't. You can get a chart if you want to, but all the brake chambers have different strokes. And you can go on, I think on like a DOT site and everything too. And they actually will give you a chart that, you can see it online, that actually will give you the stroke, the brake stroke. So what you want to do, you can do this by yourself with, if you have something like this where you can apply the brakes, or otherwise you have to get up, run up there, you know, flip some lever to put air to it to apply them, or you can have somebody in the truck press on the brakes. But basically you want to have it about 90 to 100 psi, and you want to put a tape measure up right up against the brake chamber, so it's up inside against the brake chamber, and then you measure over here to the clevis pin here. Basically it is 11 1/8. Now this is a Type 30. It has a 2.5 inch brake stroke, but DOT only allows 2 inches. So anything over 2 inches, then you have problems. And the problems could be all different things. Could be slack adjuster, could be the S-cam bushings, could be the rollers. Things that are worn will give you a bigger brake stroke. So you just hold your tape measure up against there, and this one is at 11 1/8, and then you apply the brakes. There we go. And you can see where it come out to. It is 12 3/4. Oops. So it's 12 3/4. So what do we got there? We got 1 inch and just almost 3/4. And I can tell you already that I have gone through and done them all already. They're all like 1 3/4. They're right there, 1 3/4. So we are good to go for brake stroke. We have basically redone the whole brake system underneath there, but not replacing the brake pads. But got everything actually functionable and working, which is cool. We've done a lot of other things too. I'll do a quick walk around with you guys. All right, guys, we got this all set up here, and I got my machine all set up there, the trailer checker thing. And right here is the remote in my hand. And as you can see, the top clearance lights are on. So you can walk around and you can check all these different lights and everything. And I've actually had to change out a bunch of lights. I found a bunch of lights that were actually broken or burnt out, whatever. Wires were corroded, everything else. So the cool thing about this is right now the top ones are on. Okay, got the top one blinking. And if you press the button again, now it's the right one. And the right one's up there. You press the button again, then it's the clearance lights. And you can see all the back clearance lights. You can check all those up on the top. All the ones on the side. I gotta tell you that I had a broken wire. It was all corroded and broken in this one. I had to fix that. This one was broken. The wire was busted and somebody stuck the wrong bulb in there. It was actually right down there. It's not actually a bulb we use, but somebody stuck it in there. And the wire was even broken, so it wasn't working. So I got that fixed. But you see the ABS light come on? That's supposed to come on there. And what that machine is doing is it's testing the ABS connections. You can hear it going underneath, going tee-tee-tee-tee-tee, and the lights flash and everything, the bright lights come on. I actually found that's on all those wires that there. There was a big connector up there. I got coax on it now. But there was like a 4-pin connector that was up underneath there, and it was unplugged completely. And I looked up inside there trying to plug it back in, and one of the connections was all corroded for being unconnected. It's had water going into it and it's all messed up. So I actually just cut it and put heat shrink butt connectors up in there, wrapped it and everything so protect it. And then we also had a spring on this wire harness here that was busted. Fixed that up, so now the wires stay up off the ground.
and we didn't have a spare tire in here, so I mounted a spare tire. So now I'm done with everything up here up to this point. I'm kind of moving from the back to the front. So the next thing to do is the right way scale. So that is coming off. That's the dial right way scale that I put on all these trailers. Up to the front, and I have to change the dummy light. What that is the green light right up there. When you have the trailer on, only one bulb is working out of all those. So we have some extra kits. I gotta pull that one off, follow the wire in there, reconnect it, put a new one on there. Pull the DOT stickers off because I'm basically redoing the trailer and I'm checking it over as I'm going. So at the end, I'll be able to fill out a new DOT report. I cannot replace the chrome corners. He does not have those. That's gonna be a big job. But this one needs both. This trailer actually hit an overpass. If you look way up there, the driver is no longer here, mainly because of this reason. But he actually hit an overpass and a place repaired it up there and stuff. So I don't know how that's going to go with repairing the corner. But over on this corner, you can see it's all smashed into. So he's got to be repaired. And then I also got to do an oil change.